Good Saturday morning for me, although a Saturday afternoon for half of the wonderful folks who are here. This is the third of three. It was originally supposed to be four, but I canceled last week. I do apologize. Sessions of Star Wars World as part of Star Wars Saturday. I'm going to say so much Star Wars. I'm even going to show you my Star Wars shirt, the Sons of Alderaan, and I'm going to have to stand up to show you the Rebel scum. Yes, Steven is here. This is perfect. All right, we'll let him come in, and I'll continue the intro here. So, this is Star Wars Saturdays, which is a living campaign. This living campaign has been going on for over a year now. We started off with the timeline of the original trilogy of movies just before Empire Strikes Back. We're now in the Return of the Jedi timeline. Not long after Jabba the Hutt was murdered by some terrorists, aka Rebel scum. And this is set on Tatooine. Hey, Steven, I was just doing a quick intro. We'll rope you in just a sec. So this is set on Tatooine. And the group is a rebel cell from the rebellion who have found out about a very famous general from the Old Republic who was quite renowned. His name is Ader Talon, and he and his crew had supposedly died in service of the Old Republic a number of years ago, but there was a rebel spy that was on a Star Destroyer reached out to you guys because she had found out that he was alive. And so you guys were assigned to go find him on Tatooine. And when you arrived on Tatooine, you found that there were a large number of bounty hunters who were here as well, because the Empire was aware of this. In fact, that's how you guys got wind of it, is that there's a Star Destroyer on its way to Tatooine, and all the bounty hunters in the basically in the outer rim have picked up stakes and headed to Tatooine to try to find Ader Talon, a renowned Old Republic war hero. Now, you guys took a little bit of a sidetrack in that a particular noble who was among you decided that the guy who was trying to swoop in and pick up everything that Jabba the Hutt had left behind, particularly Ratataki, by the name of Kazojut, could not stand. And so Janila, who arrived with you guys, has taken over. Like, we are picking moments after Kazojut has been killed, and yes, Alan, that Kazojut. So Kazojut has been murdered. I'm kind of sad. I liked him, but whatever. He's not a player character, and the dice rolls happened. So Janila has just taken over Jabba's townhouse, and now it's hers, and she's kind of... that's what she's busy with. That's the excuse for Janila being absent from the Tatooine Manhunt. And the last thing that had happened is that our wonderful Jedi had, by the name of Sham Das, had taken a particular captive. And so we are going to pick up, after character introductions and integration, we'll pick up on our lovely ship. Oh, shoot. I'm now hating myself because I didn't write down the ship's name. What did we name the ship?
Stone Queen.
Right. So we'll be picking up on the Storm Queen with that. Stone Queen. All right. We'll be picking up on the Stone Queen. There are pictures of the Stone Queen, Alan, on the NPCs and places starting around row 18. So look at G18. Bingo. There are some cool pictures of that particular ship and neat little floor plans and all that good stuff. All right. So that's all the thing. Probably could have done a crawl of that, thought of it ahead of time, wrote it down with pretty flowery words with occasionally all the letters capitalized in particular words, but I didn't. I hope you guys forgive me. We have two Stevens, so one Steven shall become Q. Q, please remind us of your character, my friend.
So I'm playing a droid named OB8B, and he's been reprogrammed by the Rebellion. He's had some commando droid, athletic stuff shoved into his brain and different things like that. He also has a companion BX, who is a reassembled commando droid, and then he also has a third companion who, what was her name? Her name is Tebby, and they form a little squad.
You actually have a Leppy. She's like still trying to figure out which of the buttons to adjust on her little carbine blaster, but she's there.
That's right. The two of us have been working with her a little bit with target practice. So yeah,
I love it. And pardon my friends, but it is likely that a particular droid may speak with a terrible British accent. Just warning you ahead of time, my friends. Steven, if you could remind us of your character.
Okay, so Rook is who I'm still trying to pull up the file for. Sorry, I'm looking for the file link.
I'll link you. I'm so sorry. I'll link you right now.
So Rook is a smuggler who specializes in antiquities. So she is actually on Tatooine, or has come to Tatooine because she has heard that Jabba had a collection of erotic art, and she is interested in selling that, or acquiring rather, and selling that. She is a chiss. And I think what we kind of determined last time is that in terms of her personality, the best word to describe her is cold. I don't know if we'll have time to get into it, but I've got a long, lengthy backstory in my head about why and how she hates the Imperials, and is fairly cold-blooded in general. So yeah, chiss smuggler, the scoundrel.
Awesome. And we did have some references to that particular art, so you may have pieces of it on your ship right now.
Sweet.
Cool. Thank you very much. Dave, please introduce us to your character.
Hi, I'm playing Sham Das, who is a Jedi Sentinel and a member of the Rebel Alliance, and a very good and honourable man from a certain point of view. I think last time I'd captured the rather nefarious, what's my note? What's that bounty hunter called?
Jodo Cast.
Jodo Cast, who'd killed my friend. So yeah, we've got him in custody, poisoned with his own darts.
That's right, that you say you have the cure for, which of course you actually do. All right. So then, last but definitely not least, Alan, could you please introduce us to your character?
Yes, I'm playing Lobar, the Wookiee bounty hunter. My Wookiee accent is worse than your English accent, so I'll be speaking in a normal voice as much as possible. He is here under his own steam. He has his own shuttle, and so far the connections that I've considered and I'd like to put to the table really is that I've hunted Rook in the past, and but they slipped through my fingers, and I'd like to add to that the contract is still active, and the client is Lilhali Fukpor, who when I left was a significant drug lord on Coruscant. I thought you'd like that one, Rich. Yes. And I think I'm not certain how I know Shamdas and OB8B, but I think it's almost certain that I will be nervous around Shamdas, because my sense is a lot of people are, and simply the look of OB8B suggests that they could handle themselves in a fight. Yeah.
Everybody like those?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good. So then what that does is all of those starters for Lobar give you one bond with each of them. Those bonds are used to boost other people's rolls. Now, I would like to point it back to our established group. Do you have any unused bonds in your playbook or backgrounds, relationships in your playbook that you'd like to throw at Lobar. And if not, we can come up with some, I'm pretty sure. So we'll start with Dave. Do you have any bonds or relationships that you want to throw at Lobar? Everyone's muted, so I feel weird.
You talking to British
Sorry,
accent,
I was just looking for the PDF, which you've got a nice link to. Right, so let's have a look what links are, because some of these won't be relevant anymore. So, Alan, in terms of Lobar, you're saying you're not sure how you know Shamdas, so we should probably sort that out, right? So, looking who we've got here. I'm gonna take that. Maybe I've got a dark vision about the future of Lobar, and the reason maybe you don't feel so good about me is maybe that Shamdas looks at you as if you've got that look of a dead man walking.
I think that works fine, given that I'm here for the final part of this trilogy.
Yeah.
Nice. That is spooky. All right, then that means you get one bond with that. In getting new bonds, so the establishing relationships will allow for one bond, possibly more. However, getting new relationships or getting new bonds is as easy as having a quick moment where you guys share a bit about yourselves or reinforce. And if you look in the basic moves, there's one called Encourage Someone. When you share encouraging words with someone, take a bond with them. If they reciprocate, they take a bond with you. So I just want to make you aware that bonds are not a static thing. It's just kind of kickoff. That's all that we're trying to get. So, Stephen, for Rook, do you have any bonds you want to throw towards the person who's supposedly hunting you for something you obviously didn't do?
Right. Not an established one, but I think if it would be okay with Lobar, would it be all right if the bond was Rook doesn't take Lobar seriously? Like if they had an altercation before, a shootout or even something like that before, and Rook managed to slip away, so she sort of sees him as a rookie in a way? Would that be right? Okay, so Rook doesn't take Lobar seriously.
That is so great. Good one. Good one. Cool. Q, what about you? Do you have any you want to throw?
I do. I'm working on an important piece of tech for Lobar. I've got all these spare parts that I kind of assembled BX out of and stuff. And I think this was something that maybe in the past I had set up with Lobar, and it's a vocoder, so that whenever he speaks Wookiee, it will translate into English. It's part of an old protocol droid or something like that. So whenever I first set it up, it was a real high-pitched, squeaky, maybe British voice. And I adjusted it and found this low, guttural kind of voice. Something that's more intimidating than the, really high-pitched thing.
That works fine.
Do you wear this vocoder as a medallion? No, I'm joking. That's way too. I'm glad somebody got that terrible joke.
If you look at the picture, there's something in the middle of that kind of armored breastplate that could just be the loudspeaker.
Nice. So we hear like the growls, and then the second voice comes that does the translation in basic. That is awesome. I'm very happy with this. That's great. And if you don't have the vocoder, of course, we don't even do subtitles. Just everyone knows what you're saying. That is fantastic. I love that. What a great idea. So go ahead and take a bond. So, Lobar, I'm curious. For the last 4 days, Mos Eisley and the wastes of Tatooine have been crawling with bounty hunters. Of course, the first to arrive were a bunch of rookies, and there have been fights that have happened where one will get a lead and someone tries to take that lead from them, and so the mortality rate for bounty hunters has been surprisingly high. The offer for this bounty for the return of Ader Talon, or proof of his death, is extremely high. It's not as high for the death, but preferably live, but bounties for either. Have you just recently arrived, or have you been here since the beginning?
I'm inclined to say that I've come because of the bounty on Rook, and that and this may be what, because I think Rook thinks I'm a lightweight, and I don't like that, and I'm going to teach her a lesson. And so I'm ignoring the better bounty on Ader Talon in order to track down Rook, because Lil Halley is paying good money for this.
Oh, that's awesome. And then
We'll get to that one in a bit.
Yes, the whole Lil Halley thing. I'm really curious. What did she do? So I'm going to show you a picture of an NPC. So just as a quick bit of background, I'm hand gesturing. Imagine me doing dramatic movements. Tatooine Manhunt is a module that came out in like 1991, if I remember, or no, 87. It's extremely ancient, and it came out for the West End Games D6 system. And one of the hilarious parts of this particular module is that it has a picture that was by Ralph McQuarrie of all of the major bounty hunters, which you saw in Empire Strikes Back, and that was on the cover, and they were all on Cloud City. But this is on Tatooine, and all of those characters are in this module except under different names. Which is why we have JodaCast instead of Boba Fett. That said, there's a particular NPC in here by the name of Puggles Trod. That is the most Star Warsy name. I love it. He's short, so he is about like an even 5 foot tall. He is a bounty hunter, and you have some kind of relationship with him, Lobar. Have you guys worked before? Did you learn how to bounty hunt under him? Because he's been around for a while. He's a bit of a toady, but he always seems to get the work done. So
yes,
what is your relationship?
I think I may have apprenticed under Puggles.
Yes. That's awesome. And then
furry power.
Was it a good and positive mentorship that he offered you, or did you learn what you needed and just get the heck out of Dodge?
I think it was exploitative. He's a very small furry. I'm a very big furry, and I got all the shitty jobs.
Yes.
And a smaller cut of every bounty he ever took with my help.
Yes.
And so, Puggles is Puggles still owes me.
Nice. And just because you know him, his equipment on any and every hunt is a holdout blaster, a knife, 4 grenades, and usually he carries several blocks of detonite with various fuses. So, just letting you know.
He's never been very subtle. He's got a size thing going on.
Trod loves to watch. This is the personality notes. Trod loves to watch things explode, especially if he caused it. He hates to get involved in actual fighting, but he doesn't mind setting an explosive trap or throwing a grenade or two. He's unpleasant, brooding, pessimistic, and complaining. He also refers to himself in the third person.
That is the Puggles I remember.
Awesome. We are on the same page. Cool. So we pick up on the Stone Queen. And you have the poisoned captive Joda Cast, who is a Mandalorian in full Mandalorian battle armor. The only thing different between him and Boba Fett is, if you remember, Boba Fett has several Wookiee, not pelts, but like strands of hair from Wookiee kills that he has. Joda Cast does not have that. Not that he opposes the idea of hunting Wookiees, just that he is not as skilled as Boba Fett and has not taken down any Wookiees, or at least none that you can tell. So I'm imagining he is in binders, And where on the ship, Rook, would you have a prisoner when these guys were brought him on a board? Where did you have them stick this particular prisoner / captive?
Hang on, I'm looking at my Stone Queen map.
All right, map work.
Well, yeah, so you know what? There's not really a brig on this ship, so
That's what I was asking. I'm like, there's no obvious place.
yeah. So I think he's manacled back in what looks kind of like a med bay, possibly.
Cool.
Yeah, so like it's in the northwest corner if you're looking at the
All
map.
right. Yeah, so you're on the northwest side of Stone Queen as we're looking at her. You're in the med bay. Jodocast looks around. I imagine that. Oh, yeah. Just for visuals, I think that our Leppy, whose name is Tebby is holding his big helmet. You know, the green helmet with the cool. She's holding. So for like size difference, it looks pretty big because she's Pugglestrod sized, but cute. And then he looks around and goes, "Oh, medbay, good. Now fix me. I don't want to die. This poison's very painful. Come on, Shamdas."
Shamdas will look at the bounty hunter and said, "I know how painful it is. You killed my friend. You tried to kill me. Whether or not there's antidote, whether or not you walk out of the ship, whether or not, even if that's the case, we don't just dump you into the desert, depends exactly on whether or not you answer the questions that I ask of you. The question is, you piece of bounty doo-doo, do you have anything that you can tell me that will save your life?"
I think that you are trying to coax someone. I will give you +1 forward for this.
I think I've got a specifically, if I can get it to scroll, I have a skilled interrogator move, which I'd rather pull instead.
I think that is exactly what you should do. Skilled interrogator. When you question a suspect, roll with guile. Or is
Guile I can do.
Yeah.
I got +2. Have we got a dice roller?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Let me link you to the lively heroic stud room. I didn't create it. It was randomly created, my friends. Okay, yes, I may reuse this one specifically because it cracks me up. You guys are currently, I think, at docking bay 94 on the map there. So it's the little circle in the upper left-hand corner. Number 1 in my heart, number 1 on the map is where you guys are.
That's taking its time for some reason.
Huh. Weird. I wonder if it's...
Roll for
it would for me. There's a link on the bottom of the Rebels sheet.
Oh yeah, I threw it up in the Yeah, see, you've got Lobar up there. Thank you for that, Alan. If you have too much trouble, Dave, feel free to roll regular dice if you need to. It doesn't bother me. It's kind of weird rolling physical dice.
I got a dice roller here. Let's just do 2d6.
Is it on your phone? That's cute.
Oh, yeah, that's a 5. So plus 1, 4, 6, and 8. So
okay. Better than the alternative. On a 7 to 9, ask 1. They must answer your questions honestly.
So I will ask them.
And you can kind of ask these more broadly.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with taking them.
So I want to know, I suppose, where and I need to bring the NPC tab up. The name of the guy we're looking for. Sorry.
Adolf Talon.
Yeah. Where's Talon?
Cool. So you threaten his life. You offer him some way out. If only he tells you what he needs to know. He says, I haven't seen him, but I'm rather sure I know where he is. I'll tell you, but only after you give me the antidote. And his right eye kind of twitches a little bit as he thinks that the poison is taking hold.
I don't think you understand how interrogation works. You tell me what I want to know, and maybe you get to survive the next hour. I will sit in a Jedi-like cross-leg pose in front of him, looking at him in a very un-Jedi-like way.
Ooh, that works. That works. So he breaks and he says, "There's a Tuscan Fort. It's on the other side of where the Sand people are. I think that he's hiding out there. There were other places, farms, an old water silo. Check them all out. That's the last place I know. He must be there. If he's anywhere on planet, that's where he is."
Samdas throws the antidote to Obi and looks at him and says, "Obi, you're the only one of us left with a soul. My training has failed me." And Shamdas will stalk away.
So I think Obi kind of looks at the little hydro spanner and looks down at Tebby, and he kind of pushes her out of the room and then administers the hydro spanner, which I think probably...
There's a moment. Like, if you're going to push her out of the room, she says, "No, he killed my dad."
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
I think, she starts to tear up a little bit. He hits the hydro spanner, and I think that the part of the antidote is that it actually puts him to sleep. So I think he tenses up and then collapses.
Nice.
And
nice.
she has like a little tear. Are we going to kill him?
Yeah, that's totally her thing. She wants to know. Are we going to kill him?
He will probably die eventually. I don't know that it will be by our hands. Sometimes it's not our choice to choose who lives or dies. And you have been the recipient of this inadvertently recently.
It won't bring my father back, but I just want to see him in pain.
He will probably live a life of pain with what he has chosen. I think you'll feel better if you talk to the others. And he kind of, locks down the door. They walk out into the rest of the ship.
Nice. So
I wanted
Lobar. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to have a quick scene with Shamdas. I think Rook was sort of watching from the corridor when Shamdas was doing his interrogation. And when Shamdas walks by or walks out that entryway, Rook sort of turns with him and says, "Surprisingly brutal for a religious man of peace such as yourself. I approve." And she sort of smirks.
Didn't you know, Rook? There are no Jedi left.
I think her eyes kind of get wide at that, and she stops. And if it's okay, we can cut the scene there and move on.
That is a damn good moment to cut on. I love it. So I'd like to bring Lobar in, and I was going to ask this over chat, but now I don't have to. I'll ask out loud. There is a merc on the ship, Lobar, by the name of Mil Raji. She's worked for the Empire on and off. I would imagine that Puggles has hired her out for some jobs. Maybe the two of you have worked together. And so I think she lets you on the ship. Because Mills is not great at her job, but she knows when to change employment to service her needs. So I think she drops the gangway and comes down off of the Stone Queen when you reach out to her. Maybe she just put a ping out, something like that. You know?
Hi, Mil. Good to see you again. I just need to talk to someone on the ship.
Yeah. So Mil, there's actually a picture of her on the NPC tab. She's on row 3. If anyone has seen the movie Blood of Heroes, she is basically one of the characters from that. She's got on the right side of her face like some kind of scar over one eye and a cybernetic eye because Star Wars. And she says, I don't know, it's a pretty good ship. You're not here to kill anybody, are you?
Oh, no.
Okay, well, come on. So she leads you onto the ship. Rook.
You are a good friend, Mil.
She reach up and kind of pat your arm. And you come in, you duck your head down, and looking across the corridor, Rook, you've just come out of Shamdas's quarters when he declared that there are no Jedi, and you see Lobar, and Lobar, you see Rook. What do you do?
And I level the blaster and say, "You will not escape me again, Rook."
Oh, voodoo! It's Mil's reaction.
Rook just stares coolly back and says, "You again."
And then my communicator pings. And I get this broadcast, because it has to be out loud, is a message saying, forwarding from Coruscant. Fukpa Empire collapses. Contract cancelled. And there's just this kind of, oh no! Ah!
Wait, so you're not going to kill her? You said hey, it's an old friend.
I cannot kill her. The bounty has been cancelled. I need another bounty.
My, isn't that convenient? Your bounty was canceled at the very moment you were about to fail.
Ah! Now, I think this is quite a tough one, but I think I have something on my sheet that says I get experience when I escalate a situation through the use of violence or force.
Definitely mark an XP for that. You certainly did.
I have to rush Rook.
I think so. Yes, you should do that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so I rush Rook, and I'm not certain what. Let's have a look. Am I going in blazing?
I think if you're just looking to like tackle her and knock her to the ground, we could just have you remember your training.
I think it's more remember your training. I think this is brawl, not an effort to really, this is just frustration.
Yep, I love it.
So roll plus prowess, which is 2. So let's start there. 7 out of 9. So on 7 to 9, the MC will say what it costs you and how it's imperfect or compromised.
Yeah, I think you get shot in the back by Mil trying to make up for her little mistake. Does this sound good? All right. Cool. So yeah, that's what it cost you. Is she's like, I'm sorry, pew, and she fires off a blaster, hits you in the back. Now you are wearing armor. I see the picture, and it looks amazing, and I love it. So you should definitely apply that. She doesn't have this heavy blaster pistol. She hits you with a regular blaster pistol, 2 harm. Your armor should chew up some of that. I don't think you officially have armor. You should have armor.
No, but actually, the armor doesn't cover a lot of it. If you look at the picture very closely,
Okay.
Most of it is furry Wookiee.
Okay, all right. So that's 2 harm that you take, and you need to suffer wounds. So you suffer wounds. That's on the basic moves sheet. It's from the Omega edition. You suffer wounds. Roll with the number of wounds suffer. It's just like Apocalypse World. So you roll +2. Now you've got a move that allows you to suffer wounds, subtracting your prowess. So it's a flat roll for you. So you just roll 2d6. You want to roll.
That's
low.
5.
5. That's perfect. On a miss, nothing worse comes of it. So you take 2 wounds there. And so the 2 wounds will be actually, I'm sorry, it would be 2 strains. So you're wearied.
I'm frankly very wearied, and I get shot in the back, and I just thump the bulkhead beside her head. You know, this is just never works for me.
The worst luck. Rook, so you get tackled by a Wookiee. How do you handle this before he gives up? And it's obvious that he's not trying to kill you.
So Rook goes down, and I think as she's going down, she's going to reach out and hit a button on the side of the Stone Queen that opens one of the smuggler panels on the floor to try to dump him as he's been shot into it.
So I think you end up kind of half in this smuggler compartment, Lobar, before you could react there. Your back hurts. Your lower back hurts. Mill moves up, and she's got the blaster. She's kind of aiming it at you. She says, please don't make me kill you. I really like you. You're my favorite Wookiee.
You don't have to kill me, Mill. I'm just going to die of embarrassment because I'm in this. My legs are stuck out of this thing, so I'm kind of U-shaped in this smuggler's hold. And I just want to die of embarrassment. What is it, Rook? Why is it whenever I get this close, shit happens?
Oh no, he seems to be monologuing, and she'll step on the button again and close the smuggler panel over him.
Wow. A beat passes. You can hear his muffled monologuing, and Mill says, Should we tell him about Ader Talon? I mean, he's actually good at shooting other people, just maybe not you.
Rook's already walking off down the corridor at this point, and she turns over her shoulder and says, give him 5 minutes.
And I think Obi comes running in at this point from the blaster fire.
Right.
With Tebby like coming close behind, and they kind of look around, and they hear this muffled pounding coming from underneath, and looks at Mill, and
I have to wait 5 minutes. That's her whole answer.
And I think they stand there. I think Tebby's impatient, maybe wanders off.
Yeah, I think Tebby's
Obi's just going to stand there.
She just does that thing where her little foot's kind of. Shamdas, you heard a blaster. You heard blaster fire. Maybe you're contemplating the universe. There's a bit of some kind of tumult that happened there, and then everything got quieter. What are you doing, Shamdas?
Shamdas just trying to takes a moment, rolls his eyes because blaster fire and screaming on this ship is about normal. So take the moment to figure out if the blaster fire repeats. If not, he will try and calm himself down and enter a meditative state.
Ooh. Could you perhaps be trying to engage a move here?
I'm trying to top my force points up a little bit by taking the
good.
opportunity to
Okay, perfect.
to rest in a moment of peace to add one to my force pool for later on.
Go for it. Good choice. All right. Well, 5 minutes don't pass because Tebby is going to open that up. So the smuggling compartment opens up. You see Mill as well as a large droid and a small levy.
So Obi recognizes Lobar, right? We've worked together, sort of, and I think he sees you're kind of flipped over, and he sees that you're hurt. So Obi reaches in and just kind of grabs you almost by the scruff of the neck and starts to drag you out, and drags you back towards the med bay because he sees you're wounded. And where they get back to the med bay, Jodo Cast is on the bed, and Obi just kind of reaches up and pushes him off, so he tumbles unconsciously to the floor, and then kind of puts you up on the bed, which is human-sized, but I think you kind of drape over because you're a giant Wookiee, and starts to look around and scrounge for things to maybe help out with your wounds, your strain.
Yeah, that works for me, and I think that so far in this episode, Lobar is the comic relief. He's because now he's draped over this small bed, with his head down at one end and his legs sticking out the other end, while the droid helps him, and there's just a kind of.
And I think Tebby probably looks around at the unconscious Jodo Cast that's crumpled on the floor. Maybe she wants to do something. Maybe she moves around and kind of pokes at him, and yeah.
Would you do anything if she looks like she might be?
I think I think Obi would be occupied. Maybe if she gets too close or she starts, she grabs something that's obviously dangerous, he might, at that point, the head turns around, swivels on that little spindly neck, and kind of, tilts a little bit and maybe pushes her out of the room and closes the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poor girl. All right. She doesn't get her vengeance. Sneaky, sneaky vengeance. All right. Sounds good. So, I think that you are giving aid, and let's go ahead and have Lobar roll the rest and recoup here to try to recover a strain. So, recover a strain, roll with focus.
Which I don't think is my strong suit. 0.
That's just a 0. That's not so.
That's 8.
Okay, on a 7 to 9, you can choose one. You connect with someone and gain a bond with them. You get your injuries seen to and recover a wound. You make a discovery or realize something that's eluded you. You find a moment of true release and recover another strain, which would fully heal you up. You gain sense of purpose from this time and take a +1 forward. Which of those would you like?
I think just currently I'm wearied, which is the top of my strain pool. If it is strain soak, so once I've used up my strain, I start taking real wounds.
Yes.
So I do need to reduce that from wearied to drained at least. Also,
and the strain, the way that it's fine. It would have just ticked you down to 7. The way the strain works is strain. You go from drain to weary. Drain is -1 forward, and weary is -1 ongoing. So relieving that strain is pretty important because it has statistical. Wounds don't hurt your stats; they just push you closer to fictionally dying. Which there is a death move, by the way, if I remember correctly. So not that anyone wants to die, but
Okay, so so on a hit, rest pays off. You're on the mend, and I choose to reduce strain by 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think during this process, Obi, asks what Lobar is doing on planet and explains what they're doing on planet, so you can get up to speed that way.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So you guys, you find out about Ader Talon, and that there's a big bounty on him. I don't know if that encourages you to go save him, but you know.
I think it will probably lead to a question, Toby, that says, you trust Rook?
We have been together for some time, and I trust Rook because Rook is good in a fight and has covered my backside. Yes, I trust Rook.
Okay, I'm not sure I do, but I trust you. I guess I'm in.
Love it. Cool. So you guys have been told that there is a place called the Tuscan Fort that is out in the waste, where at least Jodocast believes Adar Talon has been holed up. What do you guys wish to do?
So I think possibly Sam Das has got into proper rebel mode at this point, and maybe ask everyone to come into the main heart of the ship where we've got tables, and I think, reveal that information to them, that we know where he is. I think if we're going to get in there, we should probably try to find floor plans, routes, and what defenses we might see. But if he's there, he's going to be well defended, and I doubt he's going to be willing for us to knock on the front door and come in, unless anyone's got a better plan.
What do we do with Jodocast?
If you don't hunt him, if you don't kill him, he will hunt you down.
Rook significantly takes the safety off her blaster.
You decided to save the Moby, so that choice has been made. I would suggest we deposit him in the desert on the way forward. Let the Force decide if he lives or dies.
Tebby, the young one, does not want him to live.
Did you give him the antidote?
Yes.
I suggest without his armor, as I say, we leave him with some water in the desert. If he's good as he thinks he is, he'll survive. If he's not that good, well,
maybe if we take the armor from him, that's more important than killing him. And Tebby would like the armor.
That seems a suitable payment of the debt that Cast owes her.
I will speak with her.
Sometimes, Obey, I think you're the most human of all of us.
Oh, that says a lot. It is kind of sad. Because it might be true.
So, now that Jodocast is taken care of, you said we should approach Talon and the Tuscan Fort?
I think so. But I'd probably like to try and do a little more research before we go powering in, all guns blazing. Anyone else?
I think Obi, whenever you say research, sits back. It's not, he's not into that. He's not against it. He's just not good at it. Yeah.
So it probably doesn't. I'm thinking maybe just This might be something we can just do from the computers on board the ship. Is it possible to maybe get hold of some floor plans by snooping around and finding out what do we know about any ships or transports that have been heading out here? Maybe we need to go out into the main starport and find that out. But who goes out there? Has anything gone out there? Are there any plans?
Okay.
Look, so from her, Rook looks up from her console and says, "I'll see what I can do. Mill, I've just negotiated an upgrade in your payment plan with Janella. She was enthusiastic, but I thank you for your loyalty." And then she gets back down to the business of researching on her console. So I guess Rook's going to try to use the data consoles on the Stone Queen to look for floor plans.
All right. So you are looking for floor plans of the Tuscan Fort? Is that just making sure? I'm just checking in. The Tuscan Fort has been around for decades. The chances of Mos Eisley, which is a wretched hide of scum and villainy, as we all know, having those floor plans are not great. So I will allow you, if you want, to make a search for it, but I think getting actual legit floor plans is going to be tough. I think getting a location is something that's within the realm of possibility, pretty easy. I think just, but yeah, actual floor plans are going to be a little rough. So let's look. Are you imagining that you're trying to remember your training here, or are you actually trying to trust your feelings about the situation?
I guess it would be more of a remember your training situation.
Okay. All right, roll with prowess then.
Okay.
That is not your best stat.
No.
Oh God, let me.
Oh.
So a 5 total.
No, stupid. Just press that button. Is there help?
There is help. You can spend a bond, but she's rolled a 5, so that's only going to take her to a 6. It's up to you. You can spend it because that tickles me. But the fact that you guys working together to fail is quite amusing.
I can reintroduce you to that smuggler's hold if you'd like.
It's easy. What do you do? What's so difficult with what you're trying to do? Anybody in this town could tell you what something looks like out there in the desert.
Stop touching the console. Your fingers are too big.
He hits 3 buttons at a time. So you get an XP for failure in this game. So XP
multiple people can help. Isn't that right?
It is true that multiple people can help. If you guys want to both spin a bond and work together here, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that would work for me.
Yeah. So I think the way that this looks is OB is watching the map and he's looking for a good place to leave Jodo Cast, right out in the middle of nowhere, and he's like, as they're zooming through this map and looking for a location, he's like, that would be a good spot, except there's this smudge over here. And I think that might be where the fort is. So I'll spend a bond with Rook.
I love that. That is fantastic. So yeah, what that last bit gives you guys. Oh man, I had a picture. I gotta find it. Sorry. Yeah. So from an aerial perspective, see something that looks like that, and yeah, it does. The name there actually says Tuscan Fortress. Sorry about that. But that is what you're able to see, and it is the Tuscan Fort. So it's on the other side of a long pass. And you can see that from the maps, there are a number of notes about where sand people are, and they are very frequent. This is kind of a fort that was built a number of years ago, almost 100 years ago, in the hopes that there was going to be a sister city to Mos Eisley, and the Tuscan Fort would be there to stem the tide of the Sand People, because they're always a problem, because they're the fucking natives of this planet who hate all of the encroachment, but whatever. So the Tuscan Fort was placed there to be this kind of point to defend the next Mos city that was going to be built, but then things fell apart. The Hutt who was there was assassinated, and then all they have is just where they leveled out several places to start building the city. And Tuscan Fort eventually fell into disrepair over the fact that it was abandoned because that whole project went away. That's what you have on the Tuscan Fort. But you have the location. You know how to get there. The travel there is dangerous, of course, because it is smack dab in the middle of the wastes and lots of sand people. Lots.
Could we fly there?
Yes. Which tickles me because the module did not think of that. But yes, you could get on a ship, fly up and over the pass, rather than the long pass where you would be ambushed. You can fly in a ship there. 1980s.
Yeah, so Rook is going to take that information and move to the cockpit in preparation for flying directly to that area.
Cool. Now, just one quick thing for Rook. You're aware that there is a slight risk in that landing a ship of this caliber in the desert, just straight up in the desert, you need to find a good, solid place to land because it could sink in. And there's always the risk that the intake valves could get gummed up with a lot of sand. So just a couple of risks of landing in the desert. But overall, this is a way better plan.
A shuttle would be easier.
Do you have a shuttle?
I do.
Oh.
I vote for the shuttle. It's got to be more reliable than this hunk of junk.
I'm not stepping on your shuttle. I'm allergic to fur.
Well, everybody else could come.
I think that we should go with the shuttle. I think that Obi and his crew will go with the shuttle. And we will stop off and drop Jodo Cast in the waste along the way.
In the hottest part. Maybe near a crate dragon.
Or a pass known to be the haunt of Tuscan raiders.
Ooh, I like his idea better. She pats your hip, maybe hip. I don't know. She could probably reach your hip.
Very well. Mel, please stay with the ship. And Rook's going to grab one of those rebreather units like you see when they get out and there are Minox everywhere in the movie.
Yes. I can't handle the stench of Lobar's shuttle. It probably smells like fur and wet dog.
And Lobar.
And Lobar. That sounds good. So we do Lucasian scene wipe, and you guys are in the shuttle. Now, if you look on the Rebels tab, down Jenko's shuttles on row 87 is pretty dope. The actual link to the Resistance shuttle, if you want to see a bigger version, is there. I think that's a pretty cool looking shuttle. Nice work there. We even have contour line, flash, and windscreen colors, just in case you guys needed that level of detail and visual imagery. I love it. So you guys are zooming along. And remember, Tatooine Manhunt was kind of built as a mini campaign. So you guys actually fly past. There's a farm that's kind of burnt up. You fly a little bit further and you go past where there is a crate dragon that's moving away from a horde of dead bodies of bounty hunters, and a shuttle, like one of the skiffs, was turned over by the crate dragon. And the crate dragon is going back into a cave where it has hidden. And then you guys come to the pass, and you're high up enough that you see there are a number of bantha and sand people, and they're watching the pass, but they're just out of sight. So if you were to come down there with a land speeder, they would ambush you. But you guys all circumvent that. I just want to lay out those points that were all part of this very interesting module back in the 80s. It's so I love that you guys missed the pass ambush, because I was actually complaining to my wife last night, like, do I actually do this stupid pass ambush thing? So obvious. Yay. So what is Lobar's shuttle named? There's some chatter here I have to know.
It's called Lobar Shuttle.
Was it named
that way it can't get lost.
Can't get lost. You said for names, you said a Lobar. Okay, I'm a dad. I couldn't resist, my friends. Cool. So you guys come upon the Tuscan Fort. I actually have a cool picture of the Tuscan Fort that I like. I will show you. It is in black and white, but it's pretty.
So if you don't mind, Rich, I think along the way, whenever we drop off Jodo Cast, we see Tebby working on the computer. And I think Tebby puts out a bulletin about where Talon is and gives Jodo Cast's position to the bounty hunters.
People. And you stripped him out of his Mandalorian battle armor.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's
yeah.
Cool. That is lovely. So there's your cool little Tuscan Fort piece of art. And yeah, Tebby is mean. I like your version of Tebby. She's way meaner. She is definitely not an Ewok. Cool. So you guys dump off the body. He's passed out. Then you zip along. And we stay on his passed out body in the sand. And then he coughs. There's a little, sand spray that comes up. Lifts his face up, and he's got a bunch of sand crystals on the side of his scraggly, bearded face. I imagine he has like a 5 o'clock shadow. And we hear the thunder of Bantha moving forward. And he looks around, and you hear, we see this weird kind of pipe gun up in the air. And he says, "Carking hell." He starts to struggle to his feet. And then we see the shuttle far, far off in the distance. So you guys come to the Tuscan Fort. You see there's a water silo. There's a bunch of wind-run turbines that provide power. It looks, a couple of things that you notice as you are on an approach. It looks ancient, but you also see that there are areas of wall that appear to have been repaired, perhaps recently. The CD old style fort. That's it. I'm box texting you guys because I love you. The CD old style fortress sits atop a small rise overlooking the burnt husk of a long abandoned settlement. The square 1-story building has 2 towers, their gun bays empty. Walls have been patched and replaced in areas, attesting to the theory that the fort might be inhabited. As you watch, a figure approaches a tower window and holds something metallic to its face and scans the horizon before quickly retreating to the dark interior. And it's brief, so there we go.
I think Lobar will try to put the shuttle down out of line of sight. Is that possible?
Yes, I think so. Now, you can put it out of sight, but you were sighted, like you're a shuttle coming across the horizon. I just don't see how you could mask that without some kind of superior technology. And Lobar's shuttle doesn't have that.
No.
Okay, so you guys land. We do another quick wipe to the shuttle opening up. What do you want to do?
Well, Lobar is not known for his subtlety, and so Lobar is let's assume that this ruined settlement is between us and this rise. I think Lobar is striding off.
Just before you leave, I think I like the idea of having a little scene where we go to your weapons locker and we start pulling out those rifles, and you take one and I take one, and I hand a pistol to Tebby, and we're all kind of loading up, and then the 4 of us all kind of walk out. Tebby and BX and OB and Lobar all kind of walk out like we're just taking the place.
And Tebby's wearing the Mandalorian helmet.
Oh God, yeah. She has the helmet on, and it's like it comes on the sides of her shoulders because it's just that big, and we see the little tufts of her ears underneath. And she's got the pistol, and it's just like a regular blaster pistol, but she's holding it kind of like a carbine, like she's two-handed it. And BX looks at the blaster carbine that he has. He goes, "This is in relatively good shape. I am quite impressed."
So as they wander off, Shamdas is going to look at Rook and say, "I kind of miss Janella's subtleness."
And Rook is rubbing like this protective gel all over her skin, and she says, "I kind of miss the cooling systems aboard the Stone Queen. I hate Tatooine."
You don't like anything, Rook. And looks over at Lobar. The thing with Lobar, you've got this angry thing going on. Normally that means you're going to end up sleeping with them.
The vocoders are saying expletive, 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 expletive.
I like the new you, Shamdas. You're edgy and cynical, like a man who's lost his faith.
Have you just offered a bond? I think.
I'm happy to take that on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you need to reciprocate there, Shamdas, and then you can give a bond back.
So, okay. It's true. I'm cold and ancient and pretty worthless. Bit like your ship.
I approve.
Oh God, this is so good. I'm eating this up. Good. So will you guys start walking as a throng towards the Tuscan Fort? Is the plan just to kind of walk up openly to the front door and knock, or
Hell no.
okay?
This will be a point that I don't know if anyone is going to come with Shamdas, but he is a Jedi spy. So I think at this present moment in point, he will hood up and then, if necessary, possibly say, "I'm going to check it out," and disappear at speed and try to infiltrate in and said, "I'll open the door and let you in."
I think you should trust your feelings on this.
I'd rather use Jedi spy if I could.
Very well. You may use your cool moves.
Thanks. That's with. Oh. It's with instinct. I got one of those.
Oh, quick question, Rich. While he's doing that, can what we just had count as a dramatic moment?
Yes. You share an important moment with someone, hold one on them when they're next in trouble. You can spin the hold to show up in the nick of time. That sounds good. Let's do that. But I think the Shamdas should think about what secret you're hiding from someone other than Shamdas. Because that's
I am
what
having
Shamdas
real
is.
trouble with roll.
I'm sorry. You can use your phone.
No, it sometimes happens. That's a double one.
Snake Eyes?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because in Star Wars, infiltrating a secret base and opening the door from the inside always works.
Yeah. So on a miss, you completely misread the situation. The MC will tell you how. And what I'm going to do, and rather than telling you how immediately, is say, hey, this is the perfect opportunity for us to take our mid-game break. It's 21 after, so let's take a nice 9-minute break and meet at past. See you in 9 minutes, friends. So, Stephen, you weren't here when we realized that Q and I are outnumbered by this primary European.
By the Brits.
Yeah, by the Brits, not even just European, but Brits. That's pretty awesome. Makes my
technically, and there's something of a surprise, we are still European as we speak.
That's true. That's true.
Well, technically, I am Texan, not British, so.
Well, your British accent's as good as mine, I guess.
I just live here.
How did you end up? I'm so curious. How did you end up across the pond?
Excuse me, end up.
Well, that's where he is.
Technically, I am an illegal immigrant at the moment. My student visa expired about 2 months ago, and the home office over here is so messed up that they haven't got us our work visas yet. But no, I came over here to do a PhD. So I came over here about 4.5 years ago to Durham University. So yeah, that's how I ended up here. Although now we're trying to figure out if we're actually going to be able to end up here or if we're going to get kicked out of the country in a couple of weeks.
Oh, well, I would imagine that you guys might be missed with all the other important things that are going on there. Like it's the last of them.
They're kind of kicking everyone out right now. It turns out.
Well,
I'm going to have to learn that accent.
I wish you the best of luck. I know it's pretty tumultuous right now for you guys. Cool. Let's pick back up. So we had a miss on the table from infiltration. And so I think what we see are a series of scenes with Sham Das as he, of course, knowing that this being up on a rise, there's probably an aquifer of some kind. He saw the water silo. He's searching along. He finds a dry creek bed, and then he finds a way underneath the Tuscan Fort. And you're at the point of you found a ladder, and you're about to move up the ladder. And that is when, as you're headed up the ladder, there's this underground kind of sewer tunnel that's relatively dry, and out of the shadows steps this Trandoshan, and he has this super heavy blaster, and he stuns you, and you fall off the ladder. And then we cut back outside to the rest of you guys. You're waiting, and Tebby's the first to say, He was supposed to signal us on the comm link, right? And he comes out kind of hollowly through her Mandalorian battle helmet that she's wearing.
Yes, it's taking too long. The last time I was in a situation like this, what we did was we split up. Some people went and went at the front door, and the other people went round the back. I think that's what we should do. And I'm going to mark experience for telling people about previous.
I was about to say, I think you have an old war story XP trigger, so go for it.
So based on Lobar's input, we should all stick together.
And I think that OB answers by pulling out like a frag grenade. So we're standing at the door, right? He's going to pull out a grenade and jam it where the locking mechanism for the door is, and then pull the pin and then step away like around the corner or something.
Oh, crap. Okay, sweet. So that happens, and I imagine Tebby says, we should all move. We should all move. And you guys take off, and boom, a bunch of rocks flow. And the 3D version of this, like some of the rocks come right at you. It's crazy and very scary. And then there's dust. And then you see into the courtyard. There's actually, I found it so amusing that you wanted floor plans because this was made in the 80s. Guess what? There are floor plans. Because module in the 80s, Dave is very smart. That is what you have. So you guys have just gone into the lobby. This is the dumbest fortress. I love it. It has a library, guys, an art room, a garden. This was a fortress? Like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so the explosion goes off, and guys step into the rubble, not rebels. Oops. It's a little faux pas there. And as soon as you guys step in, there are a number of folks like they were trying to lay low, as it were, until someone set off a grenade. And you see that there is a, I can't remember what the creature is called. Kulom. Kulom. Do you guys know Kulom? I will show you the picture because maybe not everybody knows that particular character, but I can't remember what species he is. You see this particular creature is here. You also see this very large Trandoshan, and the Trandoshan has Shamvas over his shoulder, and there are a few other Wookiee were lined up, and they are leveling guns at you. And the Trandoshan says, "But if Empire scum, you should leave."
Roll a stun grenade between them.
Okay, that is awesome. So I think that you are going and blazing with that. Go ahead and roll with prowess.
Okay, so 2d6 plus 2 gets me 14.
Wow. Hey, Dave.
It goes between their legs, so it's behind them. It shields us from any effect of the stun, and they go right down like a pack of cards, obviously.
Yes, that sounds fun. So yeah, the stun grenade goes off, but of course they're going to fire on you. So what options do you choose? With going in blazing on a 10+, you get to choose one. Inflict terrible harm. You don't suffer harm in return. You expose or create a weakness, or you take something from your opposition.
I think So hang on 10+, I just choose from the top set.
Correct. On a 10+, you can choose one of those.
Okay. Then I don't suffer harm in return.
Fantastic. So they fire a couple of blaster bolts in surprise and try to move out of the way, and then the stun grenade goes off and it drops them. That was weird. But yeah, you guys just defeat. So sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I'd like to actually try and make a move and do something before the stun grenade goes off.
Okay. What would you like to try?
I would actually like to try to move in quickly enough to shield Shamdas from the stun grenade. So this might look like me ripping it off the shoulder of the Trandoshan or something like that.
Okay, cool. I think you should just remember your training there.
Okay, so let me look real quick.
Is it remember your programming or act upon your programming for someone like you, maybe?
I think that's right.
Nice.
Once
per session when doing something within your specialty, you can ignore a roll you just made and treat it as a 10+. So
right. So I can roll just in case. I rolled a 7. But maybe I want to take that as a 10+ just to make sure everything looks good. Remember my training. What's the... There it is. Okay. On 7 and 9, it'll say what it's cost or how it's imperfect. No, I think that this is important enough. I'll take that as a 10+. So OB, stretches out those impossibly large legs and moves, as the grenade is flying through the air, is following up with it. And, rushing at them. And I think that shots fire off into this, the smoke that's still settling from the trashed door, and makes a leap, grabs the limp form of Shamdas, and then twists around so that the stun grenade, goes off and Shamdas is more protected.
Nice. I love it. Yes, it works perfectly. You heroically save Shamdas from getting the brunt of that. The stun grenade goes off and the Wookiee drop. The Kulom creature, which I really should look up, drops, and then Yungan, the Trandoshan, is the last. He drops to a knee, and he drops to both hands and drops his blaster, his giant blaster carbine there, and then, poof, yeah, Forlom. Thank you very much. Apologize for that. And you've cleared the decks, as it were. It appears that none of these guys are Adar Talon. What do you wish to do?
So I think, OB kind of comes up off the ground and kind of waves to Tebby and to BX, and they start tying up the unconscious forms so that they're immobilized. And he's explaining to Tebby, we have to make sure that they don't get free and come at us from behind. So we're going to incapacitate them for now.
Little Mandalorian helmet kind of bobs up and down as she takes notes. And I think BX helps. Like, he's really good at tying people up. There's a particular knot that I've developed that's extremely hard to untie. Look, make bunny ears. Oh, sorry. Cool.
I'm wondering if any of them have a bounty on their head.
I think that is a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say the Youngun, the Trandoshan, if you're checking with guild resources, you'll find that he has a number of bounties on his head, primarily for acts of...
In fairness, I did not take the move. Membership has its perks. So I will have to at some point confirm that, but it's encouraging.
Yeah. You're right. You didn't have the move. But yeah, he looks kind of sketchy. He's scruffy looking. He's a scruffy looking nerf herder, so there we go. All right. You now have Shamdas. I think Shamdas, at this point, you start to wake up. You're being held lovingly by Obi. You feel like a child, actually, because Obi is just tall enough and big enough that there's just this moment of memory for you, kind of sense memory of being held when you were a child. Who primarily held you? Your mother, your father, or were you given up to the order before you have any memories of childhood?
I was probably a youngling in the temple, so it would have been one of my mentors who would have when he was younger and a child, and if he'd fall over, he'd pick him up and say, "Dust yourself down and stand up." Possibly in that more sergeant majory sort of way, rather than a caring parent. So. Takes a moment to takes a deep breath, brings his emotions back in check, and looks at OB and says, "Good to see you. My plan worked."
And OB kind of says, "I am glad you are undamaged," and stands up.
Oh, David, you just got a little crackly on your mic. You may want to drop and rejoin.
Okay.
So we'll wait for just a second on response there. Rook, looks as if your motley crew has forced their way into this Tuscan Fort. You don't think that everyone came as the welcoming party, but you've definitely made a nice little insertion of yourselves here. What are you doing?
So Rook is looking around for anything that might be of value. So this place seems unusually aristocratic for a Tuscan fort. So if there are there any indications that, like, I'm assuming that from where they are, they don't necessarily know that there's a music room and a garden and a study, but are there any indications in an art room? But those are things that she would be interested in. So are there any indications that she might be, that those things might be there, or is it just
when you look in the art room, and of course there was some damage, right? Grenade just went off. The doors block most of it, but I imagine there's some like little cracks and structural damage, and it's also quite aged. There are some art pieces that and so you weren't here in the last session when they recovered some of the Jabba art pieces, but you see there are a few of the missing pieces are here along with other local artwork. There's actually even some pieces that look very foreign and are primitive in their designs, but don't look ancient, if that makes sense.
Okay, so Rook sort of looks over at the rest of the party, sees that they're okay for the moment, sort of, and just says, "Give me a moment." And then she strides into the room and sort of begins putting some of the more valuable pieces where they wouldn't be shot or destroyed should there be more violence, you know, sort of keeping things out of the way to come back and grab later.
Cool. Let's let David rejoin us. Hey, you back with us?
I am. Is it better?
Yeah, sound good. So what happened as you're doing the restart, Rook moves into the art room because we have a map, and there were a few of the erotic art pieces from Jabba's palace that somehow ended up here, as well as there are a few pieces of art that look to have been, like, they're not ancient, but they also look primitive in their design, and they're like craft art, so pieces of pottery and the like, that she sees when you go in there to secure the pieces that most interest you. And that's when you guys hear a voice. It says, "Imperials have become more persistent and ingenious since I last dealt with Palpatine's agents."
Obi turns to Shamdas and says, "They think we're Imperials."
So I will put down my HUD, open it clearly so my lightsaber can be seen, and say, look at the Rook and Lobar and say, we'd be pretty motley crew for Imperials, wouldn't we?
I believe
Well,
I see something on your person. And you haven't seen this guy yet. So you're not sure how he's seeing you, but he's just said he's able to see you, and you're making yourself obvious in display.
We're members of the Rebel Alliance. We're here to rescue you.
I think you're trying to coax him into trusting you rather than considering you as Imperial spies. So please roll with guile. And if anyone wants to bond up and help you, that would be lovely.
Okay, let's give it another go with the dice roller.
Yeah, I think Rook is going to assist or attempt to assist. She walks out of the art room with like bits of the collection under her arms and looks over and says, "Yes, we're the good guys." As but then she's also going to lean over and pick up her comm link and say something into it, which, although the rest of the party would know, she's calling for Mill to bring the Stone Queen in to pick this equipment up.
Nice. All right, so you've got a +1 from Rook.
Yeah. Even in the another browser doesn't even help me now. Oh, 4. That's a 4 with a +1, 5, 6, 7 though. Woohoo!
Wow! Thank goodness for Rook's help. Okay, so for NPCs on a 10+, they play right into your hands. On a 7 to 9, they act all right, but the MC decides how, and you take +1 forward with them. So he says, "Do see the lightsaber, and I've heard about this Rebel Alliance. If all of you will put down your weapons, I will speak with you. Otherwise, I do not trust your words. I have seen Imperial agents too many times."
Shamdas will acquiesce, take off a lightsaber, and roll it across the floor.
Ooh, that's big stuff. I think the Tebby will be the next. She'll lay down her pistol and take off her helmet.
Rook will lay her blaster down, but she'll palm her comm link.
Yes. Nice. Yeah, you got notification back from Mills. She's cooking her up. Be there shortly.
And I think OB looks over at Shamdas, and whenever Shamdas rolls his lightsaber across, OB starts the process of dumping weapons and grenades and stuff. That typical thing you see in the movie where it's like weapon after weapon kind of come off, and there's just a pile left at the end.
Love it. BX will follow yours, and he puts down. He very gently, like he wants to put it on a table. It's in such good shape.
Yeah, we'll get a repeat of that from Lobar, except for the holdout blaster.
Nice. So he does hold on. Oh, very well. And a door opens up, and that door leads you guys into the, if you take a look there, into the garden. And as you come into the garden, you see that there is an older man, appears to be in his 60s perhaps, but he's kept himself fit. He has a lovely older woman with him. The two seem very close. He does have a blaster pistol, but he has it in a holster. And he gestures for you guys to come into what is indicated as the music room. Came a time when it became obvious that Palpatine would soon rule the galaxy. I knew that I would have to flee or die opposing him. That is why I faked my death and went into hiding here. I thought that Tatooine would be far enough from the core worlds to miss notice, but it seems concerns of the Empire involved me again. Why would the rebellion care about an old man like me?
The fire and the light the Jedi Order has gone out of the galaxy. We need new lights and new heroes. The Rebel Alliance needs leaders like you.
Have you know that I've put out the call to my old crew, asking them to meet with me. Not here on Tatooine, it is too dangerous. Do you have a ship?
We do. One of the fastest in the galaxy. And it's even older than you.
Let's see. Okay. Seems that we are needed.
I'm just slightly suspicious of all this. I'd like to see whether I can trust my feelings on it.
Well, I think you should roll to trust your feelings. We'll see.
So that is plus instinct, which is 1. Gosh.
You have good instincts. You're just not good at convincing other people to do things. That's all.
So that gets to 10. So on 10, on a hit, choose 1. On 10 plus, ask a follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Are Rook's motives pure?
Rook gets to answer that.
Are Rook's motives?
With respect to Adar Talon, anyway.
So you did a trust your instincts on Rook.
Yeah.
Yes, those are totally pure. But I would remind you that Rook has a move called Stone Face that when someone does trust their instincts on Rook, she can say whatever she wants.
So perfect. Poor guy.
Well, that was just a perfect exchange. But I get to ask a follow-up question. Is from the same list, I'm assuming. I think I want to know if Talon's motives are on side. Does he mean this?
he definitely means to gather with his crew. He's still a little suspicious of you guys, but if you are on the up and up, if Shamdar isn't some guy walking around with a laser sword claiming to be a Jedi, he's willing to go all in. He just doesn't like meet someone and minutes later immediately trust them, especially when one of them is a snarky chiz who's just stole some of his artwork and the rest blew up his front door. So, you know, there's a few things where he's a little suspicious, but yes, that's what you get. And so Kay appears to be his wife, and she goes off and they start gathering up some of their belongings. It looks like they have packed a lot of their stuff ahead of time, and they seem to be traveling light, but you know, they have some equipment as well as like a little, you know, computing device and some other stuff. And you get a comm rook that from Mill. She says, "Hey, I've got good news and bad news, boss."
The bad news first, please.
Oh, okay. It's going to sound much worse than the good news. So if you look up into the sky, you might see the shadow of it. There's a Star Destroyer that just came into the system, and it's on its way. Good news is I'm almost there.
Ugh. Mill, obscure the Stone Queen in the pass. Isn't there out of character? Isn't there a pass that we sort of flew over?
Yes, yes.
You're welcome.
Oh, do you want me to land? I'm not sure. Yeah, I can land. I can land. It's good. No problems.
No. Don't land the Stone Queen. Keep it in the air in the pass. Can you do that?
We like put to her, and she's looking, and she like flips a toggle, and then she grabs the stick. Yep. No problems. And it kind of starts to edge forward to the end. Like the pass is kind of like this, right? She starts to go, and she starts to scrape. She's like over adjust and starts to go to the left. Nope, no problem. It's fine.
Rook just clicks off the comm link and says, "We'd better hurry." Is Talon still in the area? Can I still address Talon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he imagine that he's gathered most of his stuff. They've got it in the music room. They were pretty much ready to go. He's got a small cadre of folks who are loyal to him. Who are there's even a Jawa here who's helping him out. I know. That's so.
A helpful Jawa. Okay, Rook says, and how does such a hermit as yourself become an art collector? You have some nice pieces here.
That's my wife's passion, he says. And she says, "Yes, did you see the Sand People's art? They are amazing. So creative, but functional."
Also valuable. And fortunately enough for you, some of these pieces will be just enough to secure your passage aboard my ship.
Nice. I need to take a quick break. Kid had somebody spend the night, and it looks like they're coming to pick him up. I'll be back in a few minutes.